The universe stretched out in a tapestry of swirling starlight and deep, uncharted darkness. In the late 24th century, where humanity's bold spirit met the enigmatic infinity of the Andromeda sector, space was a living, breathing expanse of mystery. Amid this celestial ocean sailed the Aurora Dawn, a starship renowned for its sleek design and daring voyages into the unknown. Its polished hull, etched with the insignia of humanity's proud legacy, glinted under the cold gaze of distant suns. Aboard the Aurora Dawn, Captain Celia Orion stood on the command deck, her eyes fixed on the vast panorama beyond the reinforced viewport. The cosmos unfurled like an endless sea of possibility, with swirling nebulae and distant, shimmering clusters that whispered secrets of ancient civilizations. Celia's gaze was both contemplative and determined, a reflection of a soul hardened by years of exploration and tempered by the quiet weight of responsibility. Her mind wandered briefly to the countless missions that had brought her here, each a chapter in humanity's relentless pursuit of knowledge and survival. Tonight, however, was different. The calm before an inevitable storm hung palpably in the recycled air of the bridge, every sensor reading and whispered alert adding to the mounting tension. The ship, a marvel of advanced technology and human ingenuity, was her sanctuary and her burden. Every console and corridor held memories of triumphs and the scars of past encounters with the unknown. As Celia paced slowly along the deck, her thoughts were punctuated by the soft hum of the ship's engines and the rhythmic beeps of navigational systems. The Aurora Dawn was not merely a vessel. It was a testament to the indomitable will of those who dared to dream beyond the confines of Earth. Each panel and light on the bridge represented hope, sacrifice, and the collective resolve of a species eager to carve its destiny among the stars. Outside, the celestial rift loomed in the distance, a swirling anomaly where space and time danced in unpredictable patterns. It was both a beacon and a warning, a mesmerizing void that challenged the very fabric of existence. Celia's heart quickened at the sight, a blend of awe and the sharp prick of foreboding. The rift was known in hushed tones among the crew, a natural wonder that had claimed the unwary and enriched the daring. In that suspended moment of stillness, as the ship sailed ever closer to the mysteries of the rift, Captain Orion's resolve solidified. She was more than a leader. She was a guardian of human legacy, entrusted with the sacred duty of navigating both the wonders and perils of deep space. The future lay shrouded in the darkness ahead, yet within that vast uncertainty burned the promise of discovery, a promise that drove her to the very edge of the known universe. The chapter closed with Celia Orion standing tall against the backdrop of the cosmic void, her silhouette framed by the radiant glow of distant galaxies. In that serene yet charged moment, the stage was set for an odyssey that would challenge every preconception of fate, courage, and the price of ambition. The serenity of the Aurora Dawn was shattered like fragile glass under the impact of an unseen force. In the boundless silence of deep space, an ominous vibration pulsed through the ship's metal bones. Without warning, a fleet of alien vessels burst forth from the darkness, their sleek, angular forms cutting through the void like blades. The sudden intrusion was not a gentle caress of the cosmic wind, but an aggressive storm, a declaration of war from the enigmatic Zaldar Dominion. On the bridge, alarms screamed and lights flashed erratically. Captain Celia Orion's steady gaze was met with a barrage of sensor readouts that confirmed the unthinkable. The Aurora Dawn was under attack. In that electric moment, time seemed to slow as every heartbeat echoed the gravity of the impending crisis. Her fingers danced over the control panels, issuing commands with a calm urgency that belied the chaos unfolding around her. Among the swirling tempest of commands and countermeasures, a crystalline voice resonated over the intercom, a voice that sent a chill through the crew. It was Commander Vren Salak, the formidable architect of this sudden assault. His tone was icy, measured, and steeped in a cold confidence born of countless conquests. "Humans," he intoned, each syllable dripping with disdain, "you have long strayed from the path of wisdom. Today, your destiny is rewritten under the authority of the Zaldar Dominion." The alien commander's presence was felt even through the void of space. his words laden with a promise of retribution and absolute control. His calculated pronouncements contrasted sharply with the human spirit of defiance that flickered stubbornly in the eyes of Celia and her crew. Though the invaders were armed with technology far beyond human designs, there was an unmistakable arrogance in their advance, a fatal overconfidence that hinted at unseen vulnerabilities. In the cramped confines of the bridge, every crew member was thrust into a role of survival. The seamless coordination that had long defined the Aurora Dawn now became a lifeline, as each individual fought to understand and counter the alien incursion. Amidst the chaotic symphony of alerts and commands, the quiet determination of Captain Orion shone like a beacon, galvanizing her team into action. As the ship's defenses sprang to life, Celia's mind raced through a series of tactical possibilities. Her hands gripped the armrest of her command chair, steeling herself against the tide of uncertainty. The bridge transformed into a crucible of rapid calculations, where every decision was a balance between raw instinct and carefully honed strategy. Yet, despite their best efforts, the overwhelming presence of the Zaldar forces began to assert its dominance. Commander Solek's calculated control was evident as he orchestrated the assault from afar, his alien vessels executing maneuvers with unnerving precision. The invaders moved with a predatory grace, and each tactical advance was met with an equally resolute, though desperate, counter by the human crew. The clash was not merely of firepower and metal. It was a collision of civilizations, each clinging fiercely to their own sense of honor, destiny, and survival. Outside, the cosmos bore silent witness to this unfolding drama. The distant stars, oblivious to the petty squabbles of empires, continued their eternal dance. But within the Aurora Dawn, every moment was charged with the electric intensity of life and death, as the ancient void became a stage for an interstellar contest that would alter the course of history. In that relentless barrage of light, sound, and fury, the stage was set. The capture of the human ship by the Zaldar Dominion was not just an act of aggression. It was the opening salvo in a conflict that would test the limits of human resilience and defy the arrogance of an empire that had long underestimated the heart of its adversaries. In the eerie, dim glow of repurposed corridors, the Aurora Dawn transformed into a labyrinth of secrets and silent rebellion. The cacophony of alarms had subsided into a haunting stillness, leaving behind only the low hum of alien machinery and the murmurs of a desperate crew gathering in the shadows. Far from the chaos of the bridge, hidden alcoves and maintenance ducts became the meeting places for whispered plans and quiet resolve. Captain Celia Orion led a small group of trusted officers through the maze-like passages. The corridors, once pristine channels of scientific progress, now bore the unmistakable marks of their captors, alien symbols etched into the walls and unfamiliar devices embedded into every corner. Here, under the veil of darkness and uncertainty, the crew's fear gave way to a resolute determination to reclaim their destiny. In a secluded junction, lit only by the soft flicker of a malfunctioning panel, the crew assembled. Each face, etched with exhaustion and defiance, reflected the gravity of their situation. Captain Orion's voice, though hushed, carried the weight of unwavering authority. "We cannot allow them to break our spirit," she intoned, her eyes scanning the group for any sign of doubt. "This ship is more than metal and circuitry. It is the embodiment of our hope, our legacy." As plans began to take shape, dialogue flowed in murmurs that blended technical jargon with raw emotion. Lieutenant Arjun Malik, a specialist in alien technology, whispered fervently about exploiting the vulnerabilities in the invaders' systems. His words, urgent and precise, sparked a flicker of hope. "There's a flaw in their neural grid. We can use it to create a temporary blackout in their command network," he explained, his eyes gleaming with the promise of possibility. Across the circle, Ensign Mara Reyes, whose quiet determination belied a steely resolve, added her perspective. "We need to synchronize our efforts. If we time our moves just right, we might just turn their advantage against them," she murmured, her voice low yet resolute. The crew exchanged glances, each member acutely aware that this clandestine gathering was a fragile ember of resistance in the midst of overwhelming odds. In the flickering half-light, the corridors themselves seemed to hold their breath. Every metallic creak and distant hum of alien machinery served as a stark reminder of the ever-present danger lurking beyond the meeting point. Yet, in that charged atmosphere, the crew found strength in unity. Personal backstories and shared sorrows melded with visions of a future reclaimed, each whispered confession forging a bond as palpable as the cool metal beneath their fingertips. Captain Orion, with her calm determination, ensured that every plan was meticulously laid out. She divided the tasks among her team, assigning roles that played to each member's unique talents. The dialogue was brisk and measured, no idle words, only the essential instructions that carried the hope of liberation. With every hushed command and cautious nod, the plan began to take on the form of a collective heartbeat, resilient in the face of encroaching darkness. As the meeting drew to a close, the corridors echoed with the silent promise of rebellion. The crew dispersed back into the shadowed veins of the ship, their minds filled with strategies and their hearts steeled for the trials ahead. In that covert congregation of whispered resistance, the seeds of defiance were sown, a defiance that would soon burgeon into a full-scale uprising against an oppressor whose arrogance had blinded him to the indomitable spirit of those he sought to subjugate. Thus, in the clandestine whispers of the Aurora Dawn's corridors, hope found a foothold, setting the stage for the daring maneuvers that would soon challenge the very foundations of alien dominion. Deep within the heart of the Aurora Dawn, beneath layers of commandeered alien circuitry and overlaid security protocols, a spark of resistance began to kindle. In a cramped engineering bay, the hum of machinery intermingled with the low murmur of determined voices. Captain Celia Orion, standing over a holographic map of the ship's inner workings, outlined her bold countermeasure with the quiet intensity of one who had faced death and emerged unbowed. "We know their systems are not infallible," she declared, her eyes sweeping over her gathered crew. Blueprints and schematics, once the domain of routine maintenance, were now transformed into the arsenal of rebellion. Lieutenant Arjun Malik tapped at a terminal, coaxing alien code into submission. His fingers, nimble and precise, traced out vulnerabilities like a master composer crafting the prelude to a daring symphony. Across the room, Ensign Mara Reyes calibrated a makeshift disruptor, a device cobbled together from salvaged parts of both human and alien technology. The device pulsed with an eerie light as it interfaced with the starship's aging power grid. "If we can trigger a blackout in the alien command nexus, even for a few seconds," Mara whispered, almost to herself, "we might just create enough of a window for us to act." Her words carried the weight of risk, yet they sparked a fervor that was palpable in the charged air. The engineering bay became a crucible of innovation under pressure. Tools clattered, screens flickered with cascading data, and every calculated keystroke was a step closer to reclaiming their vessel. The atmosphere was thick with determination, a blend of fear, hope, and unyielding defiance. Each crew member was acutely aware that this was not merely an act of sabotage. It was the heart of their uprising, the engine that would propel them from captivity into the uncertain freedom beyond. Outside, the alien overlords maintained their grip on the Aurora Dawn, unaware that the very foundation of their control was beginning to crack. In isolated corners of the ship, hidden teams moved silently, disabling surveillance nodes and rerouting critical systems away from enemy eyes. This network of subterfuge was orchestrated by Captain Orion herself, whose strategic mind transformed every crevice of the vessel into a potential stronghold. In a quiet, intense moment amid the clamor of technological warfare, Captain Orion paused before a console showing a live feed of the alien command network. The display was a tapestry of flowing data and enigmatic symbols, a language not meant for human eyes. With steely resolve, she keyed in a series of commands. "We're taking back control," she murmured, almost as if affirming a sacred oath. The disruptor, primed and pulsing with stolen energy, was integrated into the ship's core systems. Every second that ticked by was a battle against fate. The tension in the room built like the crescendo of a symphony, where every note held the promise of either triumph or ruin. The crew, bound by a common destiny, worked as one, a unified force of intellect and will against an implacable enemy. As the final adjustments were made, a silent alarm signaled the critical moment. The device's pulse intensified, sending a ripple through the alien technology that had ensnared them. In that singular, electric heartbeat, the engine of defiance roared to life, a calculated strike against a seemingly invincible foe. The station lights flickered as systems momentarily went dark, a fleeting pause in the omnipresent vigilance of the alien invaders. In the transformative glow of that ephemeral blackout, hope surged through the veins of the Aurora Dawn. It was a moment when science and courage intertwined, heralding the dawn of a rebellion that could redefine the very nature of their captivity. The engine of defiance had been ignited, setting the stage for a bold reclamation of their ship, their freedom, and ultimately, their future among the stars. Under the relentless hum of emergency systems and the flickering glow of salvaged screens, the resistance on the Aurora Dawn moved with purpose. Every heartbeat in the clandestine corridors pulsed in sync with a meticulously crafted plan, one that would upend the arrogant grip of the Zaldar Dominion. In the heart of the ship, where the rebel engineers and strategists had gathered, the moment had arrived to put their daring gambit into motion. Captain Celia Orion stood at the helm of a covert operations room, its walls alive with shifting holographic schematics and streaming alien data. With steady precision, she laid out the operations blueprint. "This is our chance," she declared, her voice resolute and unwavering. "We'll strike where they least expect it, exploiting their overconfidence and turning their own systems against them." Her gaze swept over her team, each face a portrait of determination born from countless trials and a shared dream of liberation. Lieutenant Arjun Malik's fingers danced over a tactile interface, isolating the weak points in the alien command network. His mind raced through countless permutations of code, each keystroke peeling back layers of digital armor that the invaders had assumed impervious. "The neural grid is our entry point," he murmured, eyes alight with both focus and fervor. "Once we breach it, the entire network will begin to unravel." His words were punctuated by the rhythmic clatter of keystrokes and the soft, determined hum of machinery. Elsewhere, Ensign Mara Reyes coordinated a series of rapid-fire maneuvers with a small team, guiding them through hidden access points into the core of the ship. The corridors they traversed were cloaked in darkness, lit only by the pulse of emergency indicators. Each step was a dance of stealth and resolve, a silent promise to reclaim what was rightfully theirs. With precise timing, her group approached a heavily fortified alien data hub, the nerve center from which Commander Solek's orders flowed like a relentless tide. In a remarkable display of synchronized rebellion, the dual prongs of the operation commenced simultaneously. On one front, Arjun initiated a cascade of commands that infiltrated the alien neural grid, sending waves of disruption through their control systems. The alien symbols on the holographic displays shifted erratically, as if the very language of conquest was beginning to lose its meaning. On the other front, Mara's team deployed a series of EMP charges, each pulse a silent rebuke to the invaders' technological arrogance. The tension in the command room escalated to a fever pitch as the operation unfolded. Every sensor blinked with uncertainty, every alert a testament to the risks being taken. Captain Orion's eyes, steady and piercing, remained locked on the evolving data, a silent beacon of hope amid the chaos. "Hold steady," she commanded, her tone both a reassurance and a challenge. "We have only one shot to send a message, that our spirit cannot be broken." For a heart-stopping moment, the ship seemed to hold its breath. In that instant, the carefully laid plans converged into a single, decisive blow. The alien network shuddered as its nodes began to fail one by one, the carefully orchestrated gambit sending shockwaves through the invaders' command structure. The lights along the corridor flickered in unison, a visual symphony of defiance that rippled throughout the Aurora Dawn. As the reverberations of the breach spread, cheers and murmurs of triumph echoed through the hidden channels. Yet, amid the jubilation, a keen awareness of the precarious balance between victory and disaster pervaded the atmosphere. The gambit, though brilliantly executed, was only the opening act in a battle that demanded unwavering vigilance and relentless courage. In that transformative instant, The Aurora Dawn reclaimed a fragment of its soul, a defiant spark in the overwhelming darkness. The invaders, once so sure of their supremacy, now found themselves grappling with the unexpected chaos of a rebellion from within. And as the ship's systems reeled from the shock, Captain Celia Orion and her crew readied themselves for the next phase of their audacious journey, a journey that promised both peril and the unyielding hope of a future reclaimed. The Aurora Dawn shuddered under the strain of battle as chaos spilled from every corridor and compartment. The ship, now a war zone between human ingenuity and alien precision, pulsed with an urgent, almost desperate energy. In a cavernous control chamber where ancient panels mingled with newly subverted alien devices, the climactic moment was fast approaching. Captain Celia Orion and Commander Vren Solik finally came face to face in the heart of the commandeered vessel. The room, half in shadow and half bathed in the ethereal glow of malfunctioning screens, became the arena for an ideological collision that transcended mere physical warfare. For Celia, every scar and every line of resolve on her face was a testament to a lifetime of battles fought in the name of humanity. For Solik, his measured calm belied a ruthless determination to enforce his dominion over what he saw as a weak and disorganized race. Their voices, sharp and unwavering, cut through the clamor of disintegrating systems and flickering lights. "You underestimate the strength of human will," Orion declared, her tone a blend of defiance and solemn promise. Each word was a challenge, an assertion of a spirit that refused to be extinguished by alien arrogance. Solik's response was as cold as the void between stars. "Your defiance is misplaced, Captain. The might of the Zaldar Dominion has already sealed your fate. You cling to obsolete ideals in a universe that demands progress without sentiment." His words dripped with disdain, echoing the belief that strength was measured solely by technological superiority and unyielding control. In the tense silence that followed, the room seemed to shrink, as if the very walls pressed in to witness this monumental standoff. Behind them, the battle raged, a cacophony of explosions, hurried footsteps, and the digital cries of failing systems. Yet in this moment, it was the collision of conviction that held the universe in suspense. As the exchange deepened, Orion's eyes softened momentarily, revealing the weight of countless sacrifices. "Our ideals may seem antiquated to you," she countered, voice trembling with both fury and empathy. "But it is our capacity for hope, for unity, that has always defied tyranny. You cannot quantify the human spirit with your cold calculations." Her words resonated with a fierce, almost poetic defiance, a reminder that strength was not solely measured in power, but in the resilience to rise again after every fall. Solik's retort was measured, yet carried an edge of raw ambition. "Hope is a relic, Captain. In the relentless march of progress, sentimentality is a luxury that will lead to your extinction." With that, he signaled a subtle adjustment to his command console, and the air trembled with the promise of further chaos. A final gambit to crush the human rebellion once and for all. In that charged atmosphere, the philosophical duel transformed into a literal battleground. The clash of wills was mirrored by the physical struggle that erupted around them. Blaster bolts and stray sparks flew as human and alien forces collided in a dance of desperate survival. Yet, even as the ship groaned under the strain of warfare, the ideological confrontation between Orion and Solik remained the focal point, a microcosm of the broader war raging in the cosmos. The battle reached a fevered pitch as the two leaders circled each other, their movements deliberate and laden with the burden of their respective convictions. In each measured step and every exchange of piercing words, the essence of their worlds was distilled into a single moment of defiance. The crew, hidden behind shattered bulkheads and flickering screens, watched in silent awe, knowing that the outcome of this confrontation would ripple across the stars. With a final, resolute gaze, Captain Orion declared, "You may command the tools of war, Commander, but you will never command the heart of those who dare to dream." In that instant, as if summoned by the sheer force of her conviction, the very systems of the ship convulsed in rebellion, a synchronized surge of power that heralded the inevitable shift in balance. The clash of convictions had ignited a transformation within the Aurora Dawn. The alien hold began to falter, and for the first time, a tangible sense of hope surged through the hearts of the human crew. The duel between Orion and Solak was far from over, but in that defining moment, the seeds of a new destiny were sown, one where the indomitable human spirit would challenge even the mightiest of foes. The once silent corridors of the Aurora Dawn had transformed into battlefields, narrow passageways echoing with the clash of wills and the rhythmic thud of resolute footsteps. As the alien invaders scrambled to regain control, the ship itself seemed to vibrate with the pulse of insurgent energy. In every shadowed corner, every twisted conduit, humanity's defiant heartbeat resonated with renewed vigor. Deep within the labyrinth of corridors, Captain Celia Orion led a small but determined squad through a series of covert passages. The ship's internal network was in disarray. Lights flickered erratically as power surged and faltered in tandem with the raging conflict. Every step was a calculated risk, each silent footfall a promise of retribution against those who had dared to subjugate them. The echoes of distant explosions and the reverberating hum of alien technology intermingled with the soft, urgent commands whispered by Orion. "Move quickly, but remain unseen," she ordered, her voice both gentle and resolute, guiding her team through the chaos. Their objective was clear: reach the alien command hub and dismantle the oppressive network from its core. As they advanced, the crew encountered pockets of resistance, alien patrols that had grown disoriented by the sudden surge of rebellion. In these tense moments, time seemed to stretch as each confrontation was meticulously navigated. A hushed exchange of glances, a silent nod, and the rebels slipped past the enemy lines, their actions choreographed in perfect, wordless synchrony. The corridors, with their stark metal walls scarred by both human and alien conflict, bore silent testimony to the struggle for dominion. Here, the air was thick with a cocktail of fear, adrenaline, and a fierce, unyielding hope. Each door opened revealed more of the ship's hidden secrets: abandoned control panels, erratic sensor arrays, and remnants of once thriving human ingenuity now repurposed to serve an alien regime. In the midst of this pandemonium, a climactic confrontation unfolded near a central control hub. Ensign Mara Reyes and her team had set up an impromptu barricade, transforming a narrow passage into a defensive stronghold. The subtle dance of light and shadow played across the faces of the defenders as alien soldiers pressed in from both sides. Their armor, sleek and imposing, gleamed under sporadic flashes of emergency lighting, creating a surreal tableau of futuristic warfare. A sudden burst of static over the comms system cut through the tension, and Orion's voice rang out with steely determination. "Now!" At her signal, Mara activated a series of covertly installed EMP charges. The ensuing surge rippled like a shockwave through the corridors, blinding flares of disrupted power and a palpable silence that momentarily stilled the onslaught. In that suspended heartbeat, the alien forces faltered, their movements rendered disjointed and vulnerable. The silence that followed was heavy, filled with the collective intake of breath and the whispered incantations of hope. As the invaders regained their bearings, the battle resumed with renewed ferocity. Orion's squad pressed forward, every member of the crew fighting with the clarity of purpose that comes from knowing their freedom and the future of humanity depended on this very moment. In the midst of the skirmish, individual acts of bravery shone like beacons in the gloom. A young technician risked everything to reroute power from the alien sensors. A veteran soldier manned a turret with unyielding resolve, and a once timid navigator found the courage to lead her own charge through a corridor overrun by foes. These echoes of valor reverberated through the halls, transforming each skirmish into a testament to the indomitable spirit that had ignited the rebellion. As the crew advanced toward the heart of the alien command network, the corridors became a living chronicle of their struggle, a mosaic of scars, whispered legends, and the resonant impact of every step taken in defiance. The Aurora Dawn itself seemed to rally behind them, its failing systems now repurposed in a final, desperate bid for freedom. Within this chaotic symphony of rebellion and resolve, every heartbeat, every whispered command, and every flash of daring action wove together a narrative of resistance that would echo through the corridors of history. The reverberations of their defiant march promised that the spirit of humanity would not only endure but rise, illuminating the darkened halls of oppression with the light of hope and courage. In the aftermath of the fierce struggles, the Aurora Dawn began to hum with the tentative sounds of reclamation. The ship, once dominated by the cold commands of the Zaldar Dominion, now flickered back to life as human hands steadily repaired and reclaimed its systems. The corridors, scarred by battle and echoing with memories of defiant resistance, took on a quieter, somber tone, each step a testament to the sacrifices made and the hope rekindled. Captain Celia Orion stood on the bridge once more, surveying the subdued chaos with a mixture of relief and cautious optimism. The battered consoles now glowed softly as her crew re-established control, their determined faces reflecting both exhaustion and renewed resolve. Through the lingering haze of disrupted signals, the ship's star maps emerged, revealing not only the immediate dangers they had overcome, but also the vast, uncharted expanses waiting beyond the tumult. In the central command area, scattered groups of crew members gathered for impromptu debriefings. Their dialogues, once filled with urgent orders and frantic code, had softened into reflective conversations about the nature of conflict and the weight of their choices. The triumph over the alien grip was palpable, yet tempered by the bittersweet awareness that every victory came at a price. Quiet words of gratitude, shared glances laden with memories of lost comrades, and determined plans for the future filled the air with a palpable sense of rebirth. Outside, as the ship emerged from the shadow of the celestial rift, the cosmos welcomed them with an expansive canvas of starlight. The anomaly that had once loomed as a symbol of mystery now seemed to pulse with an almost benign energy, a reminder that the universe, for all its danger, also held endless promise. Captain Orion's eyes shimmered with both the weight of past trials and the luminous prospect of tomorrow. In a final, unifying act of restoration, the crew gathered in the main atrium. Here, beneath a dome that allowed a glimpse of the infinite night, they raised their voices in quiet celebration, a song of resilience, echoing the enduring human spirit. Every note was a pledge that they would continue to explore, to defend, and to dream, no matter the darkness that lay ahead. The dialogue between those present spoke of newfound solidarity, of lessons learned in the heart of conflict, and of a future they would build together among the stars. As Captain Orion addressed her people one last time, her voice resonated with calm authority and heartfelt conviction. Today, we reclaim not just our ship, but our destiny. Our journey is far from over, but let this be a new dawn, a reminder that even in our darkest hours, hope will guide us toward the light. In that moment, as the first rays of a distant sunrise broke through the cosmic horizon, the Aurora Dawn sailed into an uncertain future, propelled by the strength of those who dared to defy fate and embrace the promise of a new beginning.